the funniest lady on TV.
Before it's news, it's hard copy. Always a headline ahead.
Up next, a jury decides life or death for convicted killer Charles Bond. There's widespread fallout tonight from a school fight that turned deadly. Find out about a plan to revamp public housing in Norfolk. And Paula Miller continues her special report on the Canine Corps. All that next on TV3 News at 6.
Hi, Laura Coffey here at Greenbrier Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle. We just made a special purchase of 94 program cars. Now, we can't sell them as new, but you be the judge. New Yorker, $16,988. Plymouth Sundance, $85,888. LeBaron Convertible, $14,988. LeBaron 4-door, $10,988. You can't beat these deals. Over 75 in stock. We'll be here till the last customer leaves tonight. Greenbrier Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle in Chesapeake on Military Highway, 15 minutes from anywhere in Hampton Roads.
It's time for TV3 News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ann Keffler.
I'm Jane Gardner. Tom and Ed are off tonight. Our top story, he wasn't even there when Wayne Thomas was gunned down. Still, Charles Bond is sentenced to pay for the murder with his own life. TV3's Bruce Barry reports from Windsor, North Carolina.
And your unanimous recommendation that the defendant Charles Phillips Bond be sentenced to death, is this your recommendation?
Yes.
So say you all.
Yes.
Charles Bond was convicted of robbing and kidnapping for what he did to Wayne and Leslie Thomas last March 24th and 5th, but he was sentenced to die for what he told his 16-year-old accomplice to do if their captives gave him any trouble. Bond told Theola Saunders, waste him.
Of course, he was guilty of what happened, but the man who did it, I'm talking about Bond, who told him what to do, in my opinion, was more guilty than the 16-year-old who actually did it.
After the verdict, the Thomas family said they felt justice was done for a career killer to whom Leslie and Wayne Thomas would be the last victims.
I just want him to suffer for what he's done to me and my family. And I know he'll never understand.
An appeal is automatic in a capital case, and the defense says there are issues. Bond wasn't the trigger man, and there was something the jury wasn't told about Saunders.
In a spirit of fairness, the jury should have known that the man that actually did the killing, wasn't no way, as a matter of law, he could not get the death penalty because of his age.
Windsor rallied around the Thomases, including Steve Ferguson, the doctor who had to tell Leslie her brother was dead.
Is this the end of it?
No, sir. It'll never end. I'll never forget it.
For the Thomas family, this closes one chapter, but not the final chapter. There is yet to come the trial of 16-year-old Theola Saunders, the actual trigger man. However, in his case, the death penalty is not involved. In Windsor, North Carolina, Bruce Barry, TV3 News.
Theola Saunders' trial is set for next month. If convicted of murder, robbery, and kidnapping, he could get life plus 120 years.
The suspect in a fatal police chase went back to court today. A Norfolk judge set a $250,000 bond for Arnold Peterson. Police say he was drunk when he allegedly led them on a chase in January. His van slammed into a car in downtown Norfolk, killing 2 people. According to his attorney, Peterson remains behind bars while his family looks into treatment programs.
The verdict just came down in the trial of teenage murder suspect Stephen VanFleet. The jury found him guilty of murder and 7 other charges in the death of 15-year-old Jamie Thomas in Middlesex County. Although his older brother John is the alleged triggerman, the prosecution argued Stephen VanFleet helped to plan and carry out the killing at a rec center. It took the jury about 45 minutes to reach its verdict. And the alleged triggerman, John VanFleet, has just arrived at Norfolk International Airport. You are looking at unedited video because he did just arrive from Texas, where authorities had tracked him down. John VanFleet spent 5 months on the run before he was picked up by police in El Paso a month ago. Police captured him after a tip from the Tidewater Fugitive Task Force.
Still no charges against a Hampton student suspended after a fight that left another teenager dead. 15-year-old Jason Winley died after collapsing in the cafeteria last Friday at Spratley Middle School. Police are waiting for results of an autopsy before considering charges against the 14-year-old classmate involved in the fight. Winley's death has resulted in a crackdown on violence in all Hampton schools. Now, this new crackdown includes a 10-day suspension for any student caught fighting, 10 days with a recommendation for a long-term suspension or expulsion for a second fight, and officials can recommend suspending a student who encourages, cheers, or applauds students fighting.
It's really important that a youngster knows that when he or she leaves school in the morning, that they can be assured that not only will it be a good day for them to learn and to grow up and be healthy, but never have to worry about a fear of losing a classmate or some serious harm coming to them.
And this new policy applies to students in every grade.
An arrest tonight in a bomb threat at a Virginia Beach school. A 17-year-old is charged with making the threat to Ocean Lakes High School March 6th. Fire officials say threats like this will not be tolerated. The unidentified teenager faces a possible sentence of 1 to 10 years in prison. Also in Virginia Beach, teenage violence takes center stage at a workshop. Participants are concerned about scenes like this. A 16-year-old gunned down in Newport News, allegedly by another teen. Dozens of police officers, teachers, and others who work with teens are looking for ways to deal with violence. Most here agree that the solution starts at home.
I've attended several PTA meetings, and I've been surprised to see the low attendance rate of parents not really being there to find out what's going on in the schoolhouse.
The workshop is one of several in the Commonwealth, part of Governor Allen's Safe in Virginia program. Workshops for families are scheduled this summer.
Poverty is the target of Norfolk's new public housing task force, chaired by Councilman Herbert Collins. As TV3's Dale Gauding reports, he started the biggest review of public housing in decades.
Herbert Collins made few friends at Tidewater Gardens when he called public housing residents underemployed, undereducated, and undisciplined.
Some of us are like that. Yes, we want to be motivated, but we can't find jobs around here. It's no jobs here.
The first meeting of Norfolk's Public Housing Task Force outlined a difficult challenge. Most residents are single black women with 2 children, 25% with jobs, almost half receiving aid to dependent children, with average annual incomes of $6,500. Public housing has a reputation for drugs and violence, but a spokesman for the Housing Authority says they're getting a handle on that.
Crime statistics within public housing are comparable to other low-income areas within the city.
The drugs come in from outside, he says. The focus is on keeping dealers out. And NRHA is trying to improve conditions. Diggstown is looking better after 3 years' worth of interior and exterior upgrades. Making physical improvements to buildings is one thing, but the question is, what have those improvements done to improve the quality of life at Diggstown?
Like the drugs and stuff out here is not out here no more, like it was at first, and all that gun shooting and all that stuff. All that is gone and stuff.
The 30-member task force set up subcommittees to work on target areas, knowing there's a big job ahead.
I want to see a long neglected situation, a long neglected segment of our people get a upward bound type of opportunity.
And, says Collins, less concentration of poverty. Dale Gauding, TV3 News.
Well, further complicating the job are pending federal budget cuts. They could reduce NRHA's operating funds by millions of dollars and cut 80 subsidy vouchers from the Section 8 program.
The group Mothers Incorporated is